Yo, good evening, everybody. Hello to all the listeners, people connected. Good evening, everybody here at the house.
Good evening.
Yeah, sorry for connecting so late. We had a bit of a technical issue, and we had to find out how to go live after doing live so many times. But yeah, let me just make a few adjustments here quickly. Yeah, so good evening, everybody, and welcome to the live share. My name is Lincoln. I'm here on the farm by RAEL in Worcester. So tonight we've decided that we're gonna bring a topic to you guys, a very important topic that we find that is needed in recovery, which is the balancing the scales of recovery and being consistent with it. It's a very important part of our recovery, and the reason for that is hello everybody. And the reason for that is that if we don't balance things in our recovery, and I'm just going to give you a little bit of a picture as to what I'm talking about. So you all know what a scale is, right? A scale. If you look at I'm a Libra, by the way, and if you look at the Libra scale, you will find that there's a level of certain things. Now, what happens for us in our recovery, especially in the beginning, is we tend to do a lot of one thing, and we don't tend to balance our life out. And what happens is our scales stay like this. It stays like this, and we wonder now why are we struggling? What's going on? So I'm going to give you the importance as to why we need to balance the scales in our recovery. And for depending on where you are in your recovery, well, what I'm about to say, you'll probably hear differently. And when I say where you are, I mean like if you're a month clean in recovery or a month sober-minded compared to a year sober-minded, we all think differently. From in the beginning stages of recovery and later on as the more recovery that you get. So depending on where you are in your recovery, you'll probably hear something different, like I said. Like for example, if I tell a newcomer in recovery that you need to balance your life out, the person will probably think, okay, so for every 2 wrongs I do, I can do 2 right things. That's not the balance I'm referring to at the moment. People are probably thinking that all my bank accounts are pretty balanced. That's also not the balance I'm talking about that we need to have in our life. The balance that I'm talking about is our recovery balance, based on our foundation, based on our 5 pillars that we use in our recovery, which is God, sponsor, meetings, step work, and service. So we need to balance those things out in our recovery, and it's very important because in life, recovery or not, we're gonna have negative situations that's gonna arise. Sorry, quickly. Can somebody get me some water, please, man? Crystal, can you just organize me some water? Thank you. So in life in general, we're gonna have positive things that's gonna come our way. We're gonna have negative things that's gonna come our way. And the way that we're gonna deal with this is we're gonna be consistent in what we did in the very beginning of our recovery. So I'm always gonna look down because I'm always gonna refer to my notes. Sorry, quickly. So the first part, sir, thank you. You're welcome. So the first thing that we do, right, when we get home after being at RAEL for 3 to 6 months, is we try to take on everything that the world wants to throw at us. Hi, Mom. Lovely to have you on live. So we tend to try to jump in and do everything that is thrown at us. We want to jump into new friends. We want to do recovery meetings. We want to make things right with our family. We want to get a job. We want to do this, but things become overwhelming. Because there's negative things that comes with each and every aspect of our lives. For example, we can go for 10 interviews. Doesn't mean we're gonna be qualified to take 10 jobs. We're gonna be dealing with disappointment, rejection. So we need to have a balanced life, and we need to learn how to deal with the negative as well as the positive that goes with life. Because, sorry, because that is just life on life's terms, eh? And that's a little bit of rehab talk there for you. So what is it that we need to balance, or what is it that we can put on the scale to balance things out for ourselves? So you need to put as much time into your recovery by doing, for example, not only going to meetings, but giving meetings yourself as well. Because remember, when I talk to someone, when I do this live share, for example, my mouth is closest to my ear, so I hear what I'm speaking. So when I'm putting myself out there, I'm held accountable. I'm held accountable for everything that I say to any person. If I tell you that you need to do certain things a certain way, I also need to do things that exact same way. I can't tell you to do one thing and me do the opposite. So when I'm sharing that message to someone, I need to be consistent in doing that myself as well. And we need to balance our work life. The what I found that I struggled with in the at leaving rehab the previous times is that I expected my parents to to understand my recovery. They needed to understand where I'm at in my recovery. So when I asked for the car, when I needed money for legit things, I needed to go to a meeting. So, but then what I would do is I'd go up to my mother and I'd ask her, look, I need to go to a meeting tonight. I need to use the car. Is it okay? Then my mother says no. Then I'm like, but I need it for my recovery. This is my life. This is my recovery. So if we're going to do things with the same type of attitude that we did when we were using drugs, for example, if I'm going to go to my mother and ask her for the car the same way I asked her when I wanted to go buy my work, the answer is going to be no, man. We have to balance things out. We need to give and we need to take a little bit. So in other words, what I need to start doing, instead of just taking from my parents all the time, I need to start giving back, and that's the balance I'm talking about. I think for the most part, I've been active user for close to 15 years, and in that active using, Mr. Hall always says that um, when we've reached our when we've reached the same amount of sobriety that we have in our active using, then we're on a good path of recovery. So if you only use drugs for 2 years and you have 2 years recovery in you, you're on a good path of recovery. Because we're then able to start making those amends and without any dire consequences. Because we can't fix 15 years overnight. We can't. It's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take me 15 years to fix 15 years. It's going to take me 2 years to fix 2 years that I really, um, 2 years of stealing, lying, manipulating, hurting. It's going to take me a long time to fix that. So and the only way I'm going to do that, or to earn that respect, to earn that trust back, is to be consistent with my positive actions that I have. Meaning that um, Mr. Ho is a strong. The way that the program operates, or the way the program runs on the farm, is that we have a very strong routine, and Mr. Ho doesn't waver from that routine a lot. It makes adjustments here and then, but the routine stays the same. For example, we wake up in the morning, we make up our bed, we do our hygiene, so we brush our teeth, wash our face, get ourselves ready for breakfast. No, sorry, quiet time. Then we go into quiet time. We spend a little time with God. After that, we're going to have breakfast. After breakfast, we go into duties. That stays the same. That is consistent every single day. Yet we find a struggle to do that part of the day every single day. We can't seem to just get up, know what we're supposed to do, and just do it in that order. No, we try to find gaps, we try to find loopholes, we try to bend the system to make things to work our way. We tend to find a little bit of loophole here, and sometimes we get away with it. Sometimes we do create a loophole here or there, and that turns around and bites us in our ass again at the end of the day. So that's where we need to be consistent in every single thing that we do. And the reason for that is because if I'm outside of these walls, I'm not protected by the system. I'm not protected by our routine. I'm able to get up at any time I want to. I'm able to have breakfast anytime that I want to. Now, in my active days, when I was using drugs, I woke up at 10, 11 o'clock, and then I ate whatever I wanted to in the fridge. I didn't buy the food that is in the fridge, but I ate anything that I wanted to in the fridge. Sometimes my father would even make a pot of mealie meal. For myself, I would say, no, I don't feel like mealie meal today. I will have myself a nice egg sandwich, egg, lettuce, tomato sandwich. That's what I feel like today. That's my turkey today, so that's what I smart to eat today. And in doing that, I threw my parents out at the end. Financially, I threw them out. I mean, they had to pay for my board and lodging. So I need to be consistent in everything that I do, man. I need to play my part. I need to be I need to I can't just take all the time. And it's taking in those very small things that we don't understand. We think that so we're not protected by the walls. We can get up at any time. We can do whatever we want at any time. So we need to be very careful. We need to be very, very careful of how we handle our recovery on the outside. We need to find that balance. I'm a perfectionist, and a lot of the time you'll see me walking around here late at night, and then I walk around and look at when people roll up the blinds, and then the blinds is like one side it's up and then it's laying like one side. I walk around to all the blinds and I make sure that they all straight because I'm just a perfectionist, man, and that's how far my balance is in my life. If one couch here in the house has two pillows, every couch must have two pillows. I can't. It's a problem for me, man. And that's just not a character. It's a character defect that I have, right? Perfectionism, which is a good and it's a positive in some way. Huh? So we follow a routine, and so like I said earlier, depending on where you are in your recovery, will determine what you hear when I say you have to have a balanced recovery. Because a lot of people will say that, I say have a balanced recovery, and they'll think, okay, no, I've did 2 good things today, so tomorrow I can do 2 wrong things. That is not the balance I'm talking about. That is far from the balance I'm talking about. Now, how do I relate this to recoveries? People think, I'm doing all these good things, but nothing is coming my way. Positive, just keep doing positive. Negative, do the opposite and start doing the positive things instead. I had another example of why we need to be balanced. Of how things happen in our lives, positive and negative at the same time. We go to a party, a family function after we had maybe a year of sobriety, and the family starts you walk into the family function, and the family starts talking positive things. Hey Lincoln, how's it? You're looking well. You're looking nice and fresh. Things is going well. You've got a job. You're working. I see you've got your child with you, and the confidence starts building up. And for the first half an hour of the function, it's all about you. It's all about me. And you're getting all these praises. But there in the corner, there's that one auntie that you may be wronged. There's one auntie that you may be wronged, and as you're going around saying your hellos, you come a bit closer to her and she clenches her purse. Because she's aware of you. Remember, the stigma is still attached to us. Yeah. It's very difficult to lose that stigma. So she clenches her purse, and she knows you come in to say hello, and she pushes you aside a little bit. So after all that positive for that half an hour, you hit immediately with a negative experience. Now, how do we go? In my mind, I'm like, man, you're still thinking me as an addict. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna show you I'm still an addict, man. You know what I mean? And that is just how our thinking goes. And that is if we don't have the balance. If we can't learn to take the positive with the negative at the same time. Remember, things is not always gonna go our way. The stigma is always attached to us. We always have the people that doesn't like the fact that things is going well with us. I don't like the fact that you're achieving your goals now after 15 years of all the hurt you've caused to people and so on. People are not all for your recovery. That's just how life is. Then on the flip side of things, right? when we do try to start balancing things in our life, start trying to do the simple things, start trying to keep ourselves in a positive vibe, accepting things, we're not going to get it right the first time. We're not going to get it right, especially when it comes to the recovery side of things. You know, because like I said, my mother's not always going to give me the car to go to the meeting. I need to find an alternative way. I can make a phone call to anybody and somebody can come fetch me. But I create the problem for myself. I say, no, if my mother doesn't give me the car, then I'm not going to the meeting. So I start cancelling everything that I've been doing now. Now I stop going to the meetings because why? My mother doesn't want to give me my car. My mother's the problem. So and that has a ripple effect on everything. I now, oh, you may be married. Your wife starts complaining. No, you're going out too much to these meetings. You're not spending time at home. It's not for them to understand your recovery. Yeah. It's not for them to work your program. They don't work a program. I work a program. And they won't understand what changes I need to make within myself. Changes are very, very important. So we're not going to get it right the first time around. And the reason for that is because we overcompensate in certain aspects of our life. For our recovery, obviously, but we overcompensate. There was a few more things I wanted to talk about. Just give me a minute. Yeah, so what we also do is in the part of being consistent in our recovery is we start setting very very small goals for ourselves. So for example, today I'm going to wake up on time. I'm going to make up my bed the way I'm supposed to. I'm going to do my duty, clean the room before I leave the room. I'm going to be the first person, or at least one of the first 3 people in the den waiting for quiet time to start. Regardless of what is happening around me, regardless of whether 10 people must still walk in after me, I'm focusing on myself. I'm doing things what I need to do. So I need to be consistent in doing that. Alright? So I do it for maybe that is my goal just for 3 days. Alright? I get it right in 3 days. I can give myself a pat on the back. And so you know what, I've achieved a small little goal. That's minority. Next thing you know, it's okay, we're going to breakfast. I'm going to take my recovery a step further. I'm going to try to plan a meeting, maybe. My own meeting. So I need to take the time for myself. This is my goal that I've set for myself. Remember, it's my recovery. So I have a burning issue. I sit with a problem. I sit with something that's maybe aggression. Maybe it's lies. Maybe it's honesty. Maybe it's whatever the case may be. I have a problem. I do some research on it. I do the work. I decide. I come to AD and I tell AD, I'd like to give a meeting on this topic. Righto. That's me moving forward in my recovery. Instead of me having to sit there, wait for the material to come, wait for this, wait for that, things is not happening. Why is things not happening? Why is things not working out for me? It's because I'm not consistent. I'm not putting that extra effort into my recovery. I'm waiting for things to happen. Now, the reason I say that is, let's take the safety net away. Let's take the safety walls away. Put yourself in a situation at home. There's no one that's going to do your recovery for you. There's no one that's going to tell you, Claude, you need to go to a meeting. No one's going to do that, my bro. I need to do it. I'm the one that needs to do it. I'm the one with the problem. I'm the one that needs to get myself to the meeting. I'm the one that needs to open the book and read. I'm the one that needs to phone my sponsor. The last person, every time I left the rehabilitation center, I had a sponsor. And before I went to go use the drugs, I would always think about phoning him. But I've never ever end up phoning him. I never ever phone him. I wouldn't phone him before I picked up. I wouldn't phone him after I picked up.
Like you're too scared to phone him before, and then you're too embarrassed afterwards.
For sure, 100%. So I constantly look at the scales of how I'm working my program in and out the day, and I ask myself, is am I working with too much? If I'm working with too much good emotion, is there any bad emotion that I'm especially I have to balance my emotions as well. You know, emotional balance is very important because I'm the person that relapse on my highs when things is going too good. You know, so um, today I get a pat on the back for doing something, for maybe painting a wall. Tomorrow I get a pat on the back because I clean that specific, I clean the storeroom out. The next day I get a pat on the back because now things is just working my way. I'm on this high, I'm on this liquor buzz. And then the next day I got no pat on my back and now I want to self-pity.
Yes.
Because why? There's no reward coming my way. There's no benefit. I don't know what to, I don't know why. What am I supposed to now do? It's about being consistent, guys. It's about being, and I say this to the guys out there as well. And I know people are struggling out there at the moment. The addicts that are connected. If you are struggling at the moment, then we have to reflect on our day. We have to also sometimes take out of the day. Maybe it's the first half of the day. Look at what we've achieved. Give ourselves a pat on the back. Nobody needs to come to me and tell me, "Well done, Lincoln."
Yeah.
Nobody needs to do that. I know what I'm doing in my recovery. I know what work I'm putting in. I know when I walk away, I don't need anybody to come and look at what I've done and come and see, look how quiet I did this. No, man, that's not what it's about. That's not what it's about. It's just about doing what I need to do, moving on. The rewards always come at the end of the day. It always comes because that is just how life works. Correct, yeah. Even of you know, now don't get me now wrong, and because this will also once again come down to depending where you are in your recovery, or depending, right? You will probably think, okay, I need to balance my recovery stuff now. So the 7 days a week I can do one meeting a week. But what is the saying goes? A meeting a week makes you weak, right? So we need to have a very clear indication that okay, 3 days of the week I'm gonna go to meetings. The other 4 days I'm gonna do step work. I don't have to go to meetings. Or 3 days I'm gonna go to meetings. One day I'm gonna phone my sponsor. 2 days I'm gonna do meetings. One day I might be of service somewhere else in my recovery. That is how we need to balance ourselves in our recovery. So I'm only talking about balancing the 5 pillars of our recovery, which is God, foremost, most important, our sponsor, our meetings, being of service, and lastly, our literature. That is the balancing part I'm talking about when I say we need to balance the scales of our recovery. Because remember, my parents, my mother especially, knows she's schooled in recovery. She's schooled in 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 family addiction. She's schooled in. She knows all the science. She can give you A to Z. Naranon drove her crazy at one point. I promise you, it was Naranon this. Naranon said you must do this, and Naranon said you must do that, and Lincoln you can't because Naranon did this, and I was like, Mommy, Naranon is driving me mad.
12 steps of Naranon.
You know what I mean? But I'm grateful at the end of the day that my mother was able to be part of Naranon because that was her recovery. I can't take it away from her. It's what she had to learn to make herself stronger, that I can be here today. Because if it wasn't for her going to the police station, opening up a case, my mother would never ever have gotten to that point if she never had the knowledge of knowing what Naranon taught her to do. And that is to cut the strings, to take away the safety net, to start playing, what do they call it? Uh, tough love, correct. Tough love. I know for my mother it was probably difficult. But I thank God at the end of the day for all of that, Because who would have known where I'd have ended up 18 months ago had I continued on the course I was going. So yeah, once again I apologize for the delay connecting. We had a bit of technical difficulties. Thank you for the new guys that joined that I haven't said hello to.
The bigger the better.
Aid's gonna finish up the share for us. He's got something to add. Just wanna see
Always have something to add.
what is going on here quickly. Alright. Yeah, man. So make sure that your life is balanced, your scales are balancing out at the end of the day. I'm not talking about your bank balance.
Sisho.
I'm talking about your um, your recovery balance. Alright, so I hand it over to AD. AD, thank you, sir.
Sisho. Yeah, too.
Yeah, the other. That's for free, eh?
That was for free, yeah. Good evening, guys. Thank you very much for the support that you guys have shown us in this time. There's nothing to be said about this evening, you know. There's nothing to complain about. I have a warm bed to sleep in. I know where my bed is. I know I had a plate of food this evening. I know I'm surrounded by people that are fighting for their lives to get their life on track. Most importantly, I know I have a sponsor that loves me so much that he will tell me that if you need to stay sober, AD, you need to walk the gravel road naked and reverse back. And if I have to do that to stay sober, then I'm going to do that and listen to my sponsor. Thank you to Mr. Hall that has stood strong. Coming up to 16 years of his sobriety and on the topic that we're speaking about, the balance of recovery. And daily, as humble as he is, still saying that he's still open-minded enough to be learning in this time. And I see how he works his program and what it has brought him when it comes to the rewards of sobriety. He has direct access to be taking care of his mother now. His mother took care of him and now he has that, and that's what sobriety has given him. Ultimately, that's what we are all fighting for here this evening. I don't want my mother to bury me. I want to bury my mother. But I do know that if I should allow apathy and complacency to creep in to my recovery, then, and that's the number one public enemy in recovery, eventually my mother will bury me. You see, a jail and an institution is still an opportunity for me. But ultimately, I paid the ultimate price, which is death. And that's the seat that I'm sitting in this evening that was blood paid. So obviously, when where the balance is concerned, Lincoln touched on everything. But if you look at what active addiction done to us, it took away our joy, our happiness, our time with our family, our consistency in our job. If we were studying, we dropped in our grades and we missed class and we skipped school. If we were working for a very good company, we never went to work on time. We didn't work properly or perform as well as we did when we were not using. And then let's just stop it up a notch that I like to speak about. If I look at my appreciation, I never appreciated anything. The only thing that was important to me at that time was my next high and my next fix. I didn't care about family functions. I didn't care about my son's baptism. I didn't care about whether my son was born or anything like that, you know. And I'm not saying that because I want to show how harsh or bad I am. I'm saying that because I'm trying to explain to you what drugs and alcohol took away from me. And that's why when we step into recovery, it's difficult for us to find that balance. Like I'm still finding that balance with X amount of sobriety. I'm going for 19 months sober. And because I'm going and pushing towards that time. Is that brother alright there? Daniel, you okay? Looking down there, but you sad or what? Okay. Okay, lekker. You know, with coming in and it's so early, we struggle to find that balance in early recovery. What we don't want to seem to understand is that we're going through a roller coaster that is up and down. So now we see someone that has mastered it or has got it right, and we want what they have. So we tend to rush things and not enjoy the journey. Mr. Hall always speaks about to enjoy the journey, the lessons, the consequences. You know what brought me to this seat that I'm sitting in is the consequences, not the good times, my brother. Because that's what the active or the disease of addiction reminded us of. And when we're in recovery, it still reminds us. It doesn't remind you of the pain, the hurt, the torment, the being unemployable, the not eating properly, the not dressing properly where your health is concerned, the way you spoke to people without any respect or discipline. You felt entitled to anything, you were God at the time. That's a nature about myself or a defect of character that I don't like, that entitlement, that I feel that I'm owed something. I'm not owed anything. In the first place, I knew that drugs and alcohol wasn't good for me. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, addiction took away all that. And when we step into recovery, we learn to enjoy things like that again. We learn to socialize properly again. We learn to interact with people. Those morals and values that we never lost it, because I never lost it. I gave it away for characteristics of gangsterism, of being the O, of nah, nobody can vice me what to do. You know what I mean, brother? I can tell anybody anything, and if it's got to do a law problem, then I'm the best lawyer to come and talk to. If the TV is broken, I am the technician at that time. Nobody is better than me. I suma fix something that is already fixed. You know what I mean? Then I break it. That's the only thing that I was good at in active addiction, is how to break and destroy things. And most importantly, things in my life. And that's why when I step into recovery, it's difficult to get that balance. Not that difficult, because you know why? I complicate it for myself. There's a simple program that I have to work, but I complicate it with myself because I want loopholes and shortcuts. Now that's exactly what happens. Shortcuts. That's exactly what is a shortcut. It cuts you short, right?
Sir.
So obviously it got you working on over yourself. Why do you want to cut a shortcut? It cuts you short, my brother. So you're gonna fall short. Like I already fall short from the glory from God. I don't want to fall any shorter than that. Do you know what I mean? Because I will pay the ultimate price, man. I mustn't think I'm bigger than this game. I have a sister that's out there that's battling to sit in the seat that I'm sitting in. It's not a game, young. There's people that wish they had the opportunity that I have. I promise you, if you walk down one street in Steenberg or Lavendale and ask them if they want what we have here, they would jump in the air. They would be running down in this road to come here to be in a place like this with nothing. They don't need clothes, pop, sugar, ANCs. They will give that all up just to have this peace and the serenity that I have. And that is why, what motivates me to fight for that balance, to push through. I'm not saying for myself personally, because I'm only human, and I have character defects, which is human traits, shortfalls and shortcomings that obviously cut me short. But you know what now? I would rather have a bad day here on this farm, being sober, than to have a good day out there using drugs with people that I don't know, that just want to rob from me, that just want to take from me, and are only sitting by me for the next best thing or the next benefit to happen. Do you know what I mean? And that same type of behavior can be picked up in a place like this if you do not work your program with vigilance. And I don't want to be spiritually dead like that. I would rather go drink and drug one time. I don't want to become dry in recovery. I didn't step into recovery to become dry. Otherwise, I could have stayed there where I was and be dry. Like a biltong, and hang myself up and fruit. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yo, I'm on a roll.
Keep it up, sir.
So, to touch on that stability, let's speak on the emotion side. Emotionally, when I stepped in here, I was bankrupt. I was broken completely. I had issues with my identity. I couldn't look myself in the mirror. I was hurt, and I was in a lot of pain that I put myself through. And some people hurt me and disappointed me also. But in the same way also, I hurt people and disappointed them as well. And I wasn't happy with myself. I wasn't happy at all. So I was very sensitive. If anybody made a joke with me, I look at them. Joke, is this what I say, now rob you? Have you ever been robbed in rehab? You know what I mean? Don't But then you get a man like Mr. O, that when you come in the doors and your pants is hanging, he gives you a rope and he pulls your pants up. He takes all your chain off you, your jewelry and everything. He sits you down in front of your mother, the cops, whoever you may be. He tells you straight, if you're not going to change your behavior, change your attitude, this is what's going to happen to you. You are here in my place. This is my home. This is my farm. This is the way we run things. There's no gray area in betweens. You need to be put in the school, my brother, because you think you're the O, and you need to humble yourself. I didn't like that. In fact, in the beginning, I didn't like Mr. O. Only because of my own certain defects of character and because of the way my emotional state was at the time. In fact, I didn't like anybody. I didn't like anybody in the program. I didn't like the people that was working here. I didn't like anybody. The only time I would be nice to them is if I wanted something from them. You know what I mean? It's a nature that or part of the nature of addiction from the lifestyle that I come from. I only like you or do things for you with something back in return. Then I started trusting the process. Before I believed in God, I believed in the program. Okay, now you might scream, no, my brother, what you talking about? That was my personal experience and my personal journey, my brother. In order for me to find that emotional stability. Because I found that what I was doing along the way for the duration that I've been here wasn't working for me. I still woke up miserable. I still fought against the system and swam upstream. I still did things in the dark and then later I sit in devotions. Why am I feeling this way? Let me run there quickly to Mr. O. Mr. O, look here, Mr. O. My mother's gonna die if I stay here any longer. I need to leave here and go look after. Then he looks at me and he says, but you can't even look after yourself. You have a point, sir. You are definitely right, so you do know what you're talking about. And that is the therapeutic value of one addict helping another without parallel. Because I can go speak to my psychologist, psychiatrist, and they're going to tell me, my brother, everything is okay. Here's a medical pill for that feeling. It's going to take it away. Here's some methadone, bro. You're going to be good to go. Here's some, I don't know what this is, but it's just going to work for you. Let me prescribe you some another thing. We got a new thing on the market that just came through. It's like a drug dealer that I'm going to, my bro. You know when the dealer tells you, look here, my bro, you remember that stuff I gave you last week? That was nothing, brother. That was nothing. The stuff I have right here now for you, brother. It's going to work for you. You know what I mean? So the dealer gives you that and he tells you this and that is what's going to do for you. And it's going to take away that. And maybe for that temporary amount of time, I take that pill, whatever it is, from the psychiatrist or the dealer, and it seems to be working. And then eventually the drugs and the alcohol stopped working. Eventually the problems got much more worse than it was. And eventually I fell much more deeper than what I thought I was. Because when I picked up at the age of 20 years old, I'm sitting here 29 today. So time has definitely flew by. I take a page out of Mr. O. I actually take his whole book, not just the page, no matter how the cover looks, because the cover came up beat dirty and broken and dismantled. But that's how I saw Mr. O when I came here, when I said I didn't like him, dismantled book. But then I started opening up that book and I started reading the stuff that was in there, and I started liking it. And the more I started reading it, the more I started doing it, and the more stability and balance I found. I started loving it from liking it. And that's what I live for now today. I live my program to the best of my ability. Because I did my drugs so well that I used to line them up, certain categories, the way it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? Yeah, the good feelings, the bad feelings, the white work, the yellow work, the dark green and the light green, the red hair and the purple hair. You know what I mean, brother? The pink work and the blue work, the white powder and that brown powder. You know what I mean? And then you get that pole with different characters on them. They might have stars and stripes and dollars and white pipes. You know what I mean? I started putting it in a category. Then next to it, the Captain Morgan. Next to his Captain isn't here. You know, that's how I did to the T. I was like in a music video. So if I could do things so well, of breaking up things so well, I take 10% of the effort I put in to get my fix and I applied it into my recovery, and this is the result sitting here. And I'm grateful to be spiritually awakened to this state. I can't tell you how my desire went away. I can't explain to you how that light bulb came in. It wasn't a lightning bolt or a thunder. It's not in the movies where you see the light. And here God comes and He's about to save you, you know. This is where I'm at when it comes to, I tell you, when I trusted the program first, because I started doing the things that were suggested to me from that book, which was Mr. Hall, with the dismantled cover. I read it, and I started doing the things that was in there, and it started working for me. The simple suggestions, it started falling into place. Things started looking better for me. I started feeling better. That feel good feelings came back. I started looking good again. Obviously, I started putting myself out there because I have a character in myself, a good trait to help and to be of service. You know what I mean? And then once that happened for me, ultimately because I trusted the program and believed in the program, it led me to God. And this evening, because I did that's how my desire for using went away. It wasn't a once-off thing or a once-off fix or a lightning bulb that hit me or a brother came to me and ordained me, look here, this is what's gonna happen to you. It was obviously prayers over my life. I went for my inner leaning with the spiritual heads, Reverend Kearney Malgas, Pastor Marion that was here, that is and was here, that Pastor Katrina that is here. Then obviously together with Mr. All being my sponsor and giving the meetings on the farm, connected with the spiritual side of the program and the head, one of the heads, Auntie Karen, that also led me to Christ ultimately. So all those things I did connected with my duties that I was doing, that I was assigned to, that changed, connected with the work that was given to me, and not hard work. I don't know, but there's nothing's work. People complain if they work 3 hours. I don't know how they're gonna keep an 8-hour job, but that's fine. But you know what I mean. So connected with all those things that are put into place in the RAEL program, it tested me, or not tested me. It built character in me, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and that's where that balance came in. That I sit here this evening to share my experience of what drugs and alcohol did to me and how I found my balance through simply working this program. So through simply trusting people that has been through this and that has experience, that knows what they are talking about, to share freely, that was freely given to them, freely given to me. You understand? We all paid for the seat that we are sitting in, and that's because of our active addiction and where we come from. Luckily and fortunately for us, through the grace of God, we never paid the ultimate price. However, if we do get complacent and think it will never happen to us, the 3 biggest letters in recovery is yet. So we can't get bigger than this game. So through doing those things and that suggested things, that's where my emotional stability came for me. So when Mr. Hall, from day one when he cut me out, I didn't like it, to now I actually see where it comes from. When my mother also cut me out from day one to now, I actually realize and see where it is coming from. I don't wallow in self-pity anymore. And if I do, I know exactly how to get out of it, and that's with gratitude. Because I work a program and I work my program with gratitude and gratefulness. And sometimes, when I do my step 10, I still write my gratitude list, which was what was taught to us and suggested to us to do. Some people don't do it. They think it's not going to work for them. How do you know it's not going to work for you if you haven't tried it? Do you understand what I mean? So I'm very grateful for the stability that I sit here with this evening, and I'm surrounded with the help and the support. I take full advantage of it to help me to the best of my ability with the stability. You know what I mean? So I'm grateful for that, and a liquor topic that Lincoln has chosen. I hope some of the guys sitting here this evening now understand that where they are at in recovery, because they're different stages, different phases that they're going through. It's called different strokes for different folks. And where they're at in their recovery, they realize for themselves that it's only time that will take away the pain and the healing and for you to find a balance. But you have to push through and consistently work this program. Because if you stop completely, and you will still sit with that feeling, Because there's two wolves you can either feed here. Either the bad one or the good one. There's no in between here. You know what I mean? The bigger, the better. The better, the sweeter. Remember that, guys. You know? So I'm very happy.
I think life balances out automatically if you stay consistent.
There we go. Life balances out automatically if you stay consistent. So, thank you for listening to us, guys. Thank you for this meeting, Lincoln, as well. That's all I want to share based from my side. I don't know if there's a song. No song. Okay, it's
No
fine.
song.
Okay. I think I'll...
We request for Maureen.
Maureen.
On our group with a bike accident with her son.
Okay.
And they have received a leg amputation due to ICU.
Okay, no problem. I will pray. I think I'm going to pray in a closing prayer on here. But before I do, let me just read some of the comments here from the guys. It's not OCD, Lincoln. They say you have OCD.
State.
Hi, Auntie Carol. Leslie, she says hi to Auntie Leslie as well. Good one, Lincoln. Keep it up, boy. When is your birthday, Lincoln? Your mother's teaching
24th of
perfection.
September.
24th of September is Lincoln's birthday. Mine is
Heritage Day.
Heritage Day. Mine's on the 5th of June, so mine is before his. I want the present also. Daar regtig wonderwerk gebeur met Iwes waar ek 100% voel stukke beter. Ek so dankbaar. Dankie Tannie Elmar.
September.
Evening, all things happen at school.
09.
Goeienaand Oom Gert en vir die Tannie Rani Perelin. Al die liefde vir julle en baie dankie vir die ondersteuning en die gebed.
19.
Meditating.
So that's scary.
Humility is teachability. That is correct, Mr. Hall. The ultimate, Mr. Hall, recovery guru. I soon get the thrill when I say your name. It's because I know humility is teachability. Sis, jong.
Yes.
You go, boy. You just keep it up, sir. You just keep it up. Okay. Yeah. That's all the comments here. Can't see the rest. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna close in prayer. If everybody can just have a moment of silence quickly, please. And I'll pray for that Tani as well. Thank you very much, guys. Just bow our heads. God grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, and the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference, Lord. Give us the strength and the courage to live one day at a time. Thank you for this day that you blessed us with, through all the emotions that we were feeling, maybe the battles that we were experiencing and going through. Thank you that we are no longer suffering as I'm saying this prayer this evening. That you've broken that chain of addiction of each and every one of us sitting in this room, and to the people listening out there as well that have families that are addicted. I pray into their lives that you break that chain and not allow this enemy to come and rob, steal and kill, because that's all that it does. It causes harm and havoc and damage to all of us, Lord. Thank you that you've taken the time to mold us this evening, to sit here for us to find that balance in our life, Lord. Ultimately, this evening, I want to show all the glory to you, because we know that without you, there wouldn't be any balance in our life, Lord. I've tried every other way. We've tried every other way, and it hasn't worked for us, God. I tried it my way, which I thought was best, and it never worked for me, my God. And through my actions and the things that I've done, I humbly come before your throne of grace, my Lord, just to acknowledge how powerful you are, just to sometimes keep quiet before your throne and know that you are God, and to stop complaining about things that I don't have. Stop complaining about these attacks. Stop complaining about people. Stop complaining. I'm sick and tired of the complaints, Lord. There's more that I'm grateful for, that I should be grateful for. And if I fell short of that this evening, God, forgive me for it and install it in me and convict me in that time, so that I can come and give thanks to your throne, Lord. Because the end times are already here. I don't want to go out complaining, Lord. I want to go out with a heart of gratitude, to know that I've been sitting in the seat this evening and I've given my best today to try and help people, try and save people, to lead them to your kingdom, my God. to the way you want things to be done, and not the way Adrian wants things to be done. Not my way, but your way, my God. Thank you for the daily bread that you give me each and every day, that I don't fall short of anything this evening, Lord. That I don't fall short of it. That I have a loving and a caring family that stands behind me in this time, Lord. That I have a loving and a caring support system here in my home where I'm at now, God, here at RAEL. That I found a home here, that I found people that care about me. Thank you for Mr. Hall's life and for everything that he's doing out there. Protect him and Angus as they're out there. Put your hand of protection upon them, Lord. You know, and make no weapon prosper against them, Lord. You didn't say that there won't be weapons, Lord. You just said that no weapon shall prosper. But yet we do know that there are weapons that are coming, Lord. And it won't prosper because we serve a mighty God this evening, my Lord. I just want to pray for Tani Maureen and a son and a child of a family member that was in a motorbike accident. Be with him and their family in this time and comfort them, heal them right now in this moment, Lord. And let them find peace and serenity in you this evening. Let them take refuge in you, my God. Let you take over the wheel and lead it from here on out, Lord. Let your will and your work be done, Lord. Because we know that you take care of us better than what we can take care of ourselves, Lord. That's ultimately what the balance has taught me and how I found my balance. That you take care better of my family than what I could, Lord. And I hand my family over to you. I pray for each and every family member that's sitting here, that has a family member on RAEL here. That you work in their lives and just heal them as well in this time, to know that their son is okay. I pray for the newcomer that came through these gates today, Lord. Thank you for his life. Thank you that you chose him by your powerful name. Thank you that your name is so powerful that it defeats anything in this world. The world has nothing against you, my God. You are the King of kings and the Lords of lords, Lord. And touch his family, touch Tani Bonnie, them that are out there in Stan Gordon's Bayside, to know that she can put her head on a pillow, knowing that her son is in a safe place this evening. Bless his family and his child that he has as well, Lord. Most importantly, let your work manifest in him this evening, and let him find sobriety on this farm. The doors of RAEL will never close, Lord. It will never close because it's not what your will is. Thank you for the dreams that you have been showing me, for how you're going to lift this place up still, Lord. I get goosebumps when I speak about it and I pray about it. It's my personal relationship between me and you, God. Thank you for that connection that I have with you, that it's so intimate, Lord, that nothing stands in the way of it. And give it to someone here in this room that's battling and struggling, that doesn't know who you are, that's struggling to surrender, my God. Break that chain right now. And for that person listening on this live, Lord, let them know that you are God. Teach the youth, Lord, and let them know that you are the Lord, that you are the God. And let us be still and quiet ourselves and humble ourselves before you, so that your work can be done, Lord. And this I ask not because I deserve it, Lord, not because of what I've done this evening, but because of what you have done for us, because of your grace and your mercy, Lord. And I pray this all in the name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you, guys.